Just thinking out aloud, how would you tackle collective organized megalomania? If an individual is suffering a delusion of grandeur, DOG, devotee of God, or God is an acronym for greatest of devotees. If an individual is suffering that and not disturbing anybody, is calm, composed, centered, there is no problem, right? Though that's also a kind of megalomania based on an individual experience, based on a certain belief system. We psychiatrists, we are the greatest physicians available on planet Earth. We know that inquiry, creativity, experimentation is what we are into. You know that something is seriously wrong here. This is a delusion of grandeur. However, it's not creating any problems for society. In fact, it has a calming effect on society. If a Buddha walks, it was said that 5 kilometers around him, the area was very peaceful. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walks in the forest, it was said, lions, tigers, jaguars, peacocks, parrots, all the small to large animals are all milling around him, dancing around him. And he is saying something about God. He is not creating any problems for anybody. In fact, the reverse is happening. Problems are getting dissolved in his presence. It is our duty as psychiatrists now to address a very, very deep problem. Collective organized megalomania. It's also a .com. Some collective organized megalomania sometime in the past might have said, there is a book on water that has descended from the peak of consciousness, from the peak of knowledge. And I have been given that book on water and nobody asks questions. A simple thing. Can you take a wild guess? Why do we need a book on water when I have real water with me? That question is never asked. So it is our job to now tackle it. We psychiatrists have to form an organization sheltered under one roof. We cannot tackle it all by ourselves. When one is suffering from megalomania, just like a small child, one can only be loving, gentle, compassionate with it. However, the child is becoming extremely violent. 1,000 such children are extremely violent and suddenly they are reaching a railway station and burning people alive by throwing gasoline into a particular compartment and locking the door from outside, then we'll have to request the military dictator to take over. So only you can handle it now. Something like that. That's bound to happen. I was telling a friend of mine, my best friend, my best buddy is also my best disciple, very sharp. I call him Supandi because he's very, very sharp. I was telling him, I just glanced toward the right, I'm seeing the entire future. I just glanced toward the left, I'm seeing the entire past. And right now, people say, live the moment. There is no past, no present, no future for me. Because I am seeing all this from the axle of timelessness. So it is very difficult to understand what the Buddha means when he says the world is a mirage. What does it mean? What do Zen masters mean when they say, live the edge? It's very, very difficult to understand. Any science is oceanic and growing. The science of psychiatry is one of the most hyper-intelligent sciences ever founded. And right now, we are only into behavioral psychology. We are observing. But what are we observing? And what instrument is the observer observing with? It's a very difficult subject matter. People will not even understand the difficulty that psychiatrists face. It is very easy to say thank you to a doctor who gave you a diclofenac, diclofenac sodium, because you are suffering from some kind of headache and said sandwiches and diclofenac. Okay, high BP, amlodipine 2.5. Okay. Now, it's very difficult for us to tackle collective organized megalomania, and there has to be something called civilizational justice. If entire libraries are burnt like this, and all knowledge is lost, Nalanda, Takshashila, not just libraries, people too. And the railway station, people. Where from do they get the daring? So, I know what is to come. In a way, I have lived the future and come back into the past, in a way. We'll come to that much, much later. Just was thinking out aloud. Anyway, you seem okay. How am I? Take care, chill out, have fun. Bye-bye.